If I take the decision to stop competing in WAF, I will start juicing myself like a monster.
Now, this statement is simply insane if we think about it. Georgi Tsvetkov may be completely natural, and yet he is out there top rolling the likes of Artyom Morozov, Zaur Pezulaev, and maybe even Devon Leret. Hello Arm Wrestling fans, I'm Pradeep from Arm Wrestling News. In today's video, we will take a look at some of the interesting comments that Georgi Tsvetkov made about Devon and his upcoming match at King of the Table 9 in the recent Neil Pickup interview. After that, we'll take a look at Denis Cyplenkov's future plans regarding his health checkup and his upcoming match. And finally, we are going to take a look at some of the smaller but important updates such as RVJ versus Schoolboy being confirmed and many more. So let's start with the first one. Georgi Tsvetkov is taking this match more seriously than anything else in his life. He has completely abandoned sugar from his diet for past 6 months. He is leaner than ever while still weighing 165 kilos. He thinks and dreams about this Devon Leret match. Totally dialed in. But there may be one drawback because of that. And that is because he couldn't sleep just because he thinks about that match all day and all night long. Well, just kidding. Let's get to the more important stuff. Georgi is training for multiple days and multiple times a day with Sasho Andreev and Krasimir Kostadinov. Well, obviously these two are hook arm wrestlers. So Georgi revealed what his plan is to prevent Devon Leret's top roll. Well, every third practice pull that Georgi does is a top roll that his opponents try to do using both hands. You may have heard about Stoyan Golemanov. That's the guy who was seen top rolling a young Hermes Gasparini. He had a crazy long match with Krasimir Kostadinov, so you can judge his level of strength. Georgi said something insane. Be prepared to hear that. You might not believe it. He said Stoyan Golemanov cannot top roll him even using two hands. Now that is how strong Georgi has gotten, and now you know why he's feeling so confident about his hand and wrist going into this Devon Leret super match. I really believe that I will pull with Levan because the winner of this match is going to pull against Levan. I think about that every day, every moment. When I wake up, I see the belt. Think about the belt non-stop. Georgi is totally confident, we all know that, but there may be one problem, a small chink in his armor, something similar to Hermes Gasparini. Georgi also said that he's not worried about Devon. He's more worried about the setup and the fairness of the grip that he's going to get. Now that is a problematic statement. That same thing got into Hermes Gasparini's head and he couldn't perform well. I hope that Georgi doesn't demotivate himself in the first round if he in fact believes that the grip that Devon is giving him isn't fair enough. Engin asked Georgi about Devon Leret's statement when he said that he's going to dad move Georgi. If the grip is fair, his wrist will be destroyed completely. I promise you that. I will make his wrist like that while gesturing a floppy wrist that has been busted back. I give you my word. Georgi also acknowledged that after the recent practice pull with Devon on the right arm and the left-handed super match, he knew that he needs to work on his endurance a lot more. He has been always saying that for a super heavyweight, his endurance is already really good. And yet, in the past few months, the biggest thing that he's been working on the most is his endurance, just because he respects Devon's endurance that much. Now let's talk about Denis Cyplenkov. I have to train more and more. That means really heavy weights. Resting doesn't mean doing nothing now. I'm doing some exercises now, unlike after the John Brzezinski match when I had been doing nothing for 2 months, no lifting. It seems as if Georgi isn't the only man who is more motivated than ever. We can say the same about Denis Cyplenkov as well. Denis is still trying to find the right doctors and the right time and the right treatment for his shoulder and hip injuries. His shoulder seems to be almost healed. It doesn't bother him that much, so he's going to prepare according to himself. Obviously, he's going to consult a doctor as well. But with the hip injury issue, he's going to listen to whatever the doctor tells him, even if it is about a hip replacement surgery. I don't know what caused such a serious problem for Dennis, but I hope it gets resolved soon. So in January, after all the diagnosis has been done and the treatment has started and Dennis knows what kind of results he can expect, he's going to discuss his potential upcoming match with Engin Terzi for May this year. There's slight confusion there because the East versus West 12th event is going to be in April. So maybe either the event is going to be in May or Dennis is going to compete in April. Either one of these two. Denis Cyplenkov did say that he will go back to heavy lifting. What a massive coincidence. Just a few days ago, we discussed in the video that Denis will greatly benefit if he does heavy lifting like he always used to do. And looks like Denis is going back to that. He will not take any rest like he did after the John Brzezinski match. And in fact, he was back in the gym just 2 to 3 days after the Devon Laird match. Now that's simply insane in itself because Devon did 50 plus surges on Denis Cyplenkov's arm and yet he was back in the gym about 50 hours later. There were some discussions about Denis Cyplenkov's coach. His coach used to be Kote Ramadze from Georgia. Right now, that coach is in Georgia and Denis believes that he does not really need a coach anymore because he knows how to train and he seems to be a guy who doesn't really need someone giving him motivation to train and he already knows how to train. So he wasn't really keen on having a coach. He said that his training partners and Babkan are good enough to get him into that training mode. Training with Vitaly, Zaur or Morozov is not possible because they live very far away and booking a flight just for training and coming back to your own hometown, it just doesn't excite Denis that much. He doesn't think that it is practical. And it seems like people who have been commenting a lot about the wrong translations that have been going on the ARMWRESTLING channel and wherever Denis and Babkan are involved, they have a place for a paid translator as well. So please do contact them or please do not complain about them if you know Russian and English both. There were some back and forths about the RVJ versus Schoolboy match. Devon kind of called out RVJ for that match on behalf of Schoolboy. RVJ made a video about that. I too discussed that match in a couple of videos and looks like Rob has confirmed that match. We are not sure who the promoter is going to be and what the dates are going to be, but looks like RVJ is also very motivated. I think that young school bus, that young monster is on a different level right now and he's going to be way too much for Rob. So Engin announced in the same Neil Pickup podcast that there will be a match between Oleg Petrenko and Marcio Barboza in January. I think this is going to be an absolute war. Some people were favoring Oleg Petrenko in that match, but after seeing what Marcio did to Pavlo, I think this match is on. Mindaugas Teresitis versus Daniel Prokopchuk. This is also going to be a title match in January because Nurdolat Aider Khan cannot make weight. He's the current 75 kg champion, but it looks like that he's going to have to forfeit that title because he either wants to compete in the heavier categories or he just simply couldn't compete at that weight category and he didn't talk about his future plans at competing East versus West. Either of these two things. Thank you guys.